Because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
You thought the game was over, but it's only just begun.
Well, today I'm Matt known as Safe. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. So we have an update on Saw 10 and the sequels that could happen, guys. I mean, I gotta say this. I'm very proud of the fans that this franchise is still alive. And because of how well Saw 10 did in theaters, I mean, over $100 million, and I feel so proud, so satisfied. I really wanted to hit that mark. I mean, we were in the 70 million range, and then it just shot up like crazy, over $100 million, and I couldn't be any happier. Now, if you guys remember, Anthony Stabley, the production designer and director Kevin Gruter, did talk about if this movie made and did really well, that we might get another sequel. A lot of people have been looking at the Saw 10 deleted scenes that we have been kind of waiting for, and since all of it has been out, people that own it can see all the deleted scenes. And there was one thing that really blew my mind, and Kevin Gruter had some things to say about the Saw 11 Saw film that we could be getting here. Now, from Saw updates, there were some things that were said by the director Kevin Gruter and the production designer of Anthony Stabley on a certain somebody still being alive. Now, Kevin Gruter says if there's a Saw 11, Cecilia will be back. Anthony says one portion of her body will definitely still be scared too from the gas. Now, I said to myself, is there actual video of Cecilia escaping the compound at the end of the movie? And yes, there is a scene of Cecilia escaping from the compound. I mean, this is actually crazy. This opens so many more possibilities of what Saw 11 can be. I mean, not even just Cecilia, but maybe we're finally going to see Henry's trap of what actually happens to Henry for being involved in this huge scam against John Kramer when we saw him in the post-credit scene in the Saw bathroom when they showed Mark Hoffman for the first time in this film. And Henry is going to be going through some stuff, and I hopefully we're going to see something bad happen to him to see if he actually survives. I think this is going to open up the spotlight for Mark Hoffman a lot for this next film, and this might not actually be a Saw 11 between Saw 2 and Saw 3. I'm starting to think now if they're going to do this with Cecilia, this is going to be a Saw 10.5 at this point, or a Saw 10 Part 2 at this point. Because it just opens so much more. Now, Cecilia knows where she is. I mean, this is her compound. She brings the patients there blindfolded, so really nobody else knows where this compound is, trying to hide from, the authorities because of the illegal actions that are happening at this compound. And the possibility now of Cecilia getting back at John Kramer. Now, we all know that Cecilia knew beforehand that she knew who John Kramer was. She knew who Jigsaw was, if you heard the few lines in the film, and she still went to go scam him. She can become probably the biggest entity of this movie, this next film, because now she knows probably a lot of information from John Kramer of his life and everything that's going on, and God knows the trouble that she can get him into with knowing what she knows of him behind the scenes. I mean, there's so many different things that could happen here. She can get John Kramer arrested. She could tell them where the compound is. I mean, there were cameras in that building, and John Kramer was running all of these games in this, you know, abandoned hospital compound. And not only is it going to get John Kramer in trouble, but it will get her in trouble because she was involved with the whole entire thing. And Cecilia can't turn John Kramer in because John Kramer has a lot on her as well, pretty much blackmail at this point. So there must be another way to where Cecilia's going to try to figure out a way, maybe with some of her connections, to kind of take John down in some way. And maybe we'll see Cecilia and maybe some new friends in a different movie, not where everybody's in one room looking at all the traps at once, but maybe an actual next game that we do get are, you know, separate games for a bunch of different people, or maybe teamwork involved in, you know, maybe a 5-person group in traps, kind of like we saw from some of the Saw movies where maybe people have to work together and stuff like that. When it regards to anybody that's left from the Saw 10 movie for the game and who is involved in pretty much trying to scam John Kramer, I don't think there's anybody left at this point. I think they've killed everybody off besides Cecilia, and she's the lone survivor here. So you would have to create some more characters that make sense, or maybe this is not going to be connected to Saw 10. Maybe it's going to be a totally different story moving forward. To be honest with you guys, I really like Cecilia's character. She was the most of the two evils between John and Cecilia, and Cecilia was the most evil one of the film. She was the bad guy, and John was the protagonist, and we were rooting for him the whole entire movie. So, you know, Tobin Bell's getting older. We know this, and they can't waste any time with not making another film. And obviously, Tobin Bell would be back, I mean, for another film or two. I'd make a solid 3-movie trilogy out of this. Maybe they make 3 movies to kind of complete this segment of the story before they get into Saw 2 to Saw 3, something like that. I also heard that there's actually more video of Cecilia not only sitting in the, you know, in the gas room, like, you know, looking at the door opening and the gas stopping, and kind of just not really seeing her walk out, but taking her head out of that little compartment that she was in at the end of the movie. But I heard that there's actual footage of her actually leaving the compound. So, I mean, anything's up for debate here if they have a solid story. If you guys remember, Kevin Grutert said a lot of people actually went up to them. You know, past actors in the Saw franchise, people actually went up to them and really wanted them to do another one. So let me know what you guys think, because I think this is really exciting. I'm so excited to see this whole thing continue. I'd be shocked if it doesn't continue, but I gotta say, man, it's Saw 11. It's coming. Like, I'm waiting for it to be greenlit any minute now, whether it's the rest of this year or beginning of next year or something like that. I'm just so excited that the Saw franchise is back, and the money it made at $12-13 million budget, just ridiculous. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. Do you like Cecilia? Would you like to see her in another film? And it looks like it could be pretty promising right now that she lives on, which I never expected that whatsoever. And you let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Keep running. Peace out.